What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? Hope we're doing well. It is Friday night, so we are doing our usual Friday stream. Hope you had a good week this week. I had an all right week, I guess. I'm finally back to work, which it's bittersweet. On one hand, I like getting paid, right? I like not having to budget the way that I used to when I would be in the summertime. But then, in addition to that, it does suck that I'm gonna have to be giving my soul away again. That fucking sucks. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Um, oh, excuse me. Um, I have to work tomorrow, which is really fucking annoying. I usually don't work Saturdays, but because it's my first week back, and they needed they needed somebody to work tomorrow because there's some shit that's gonna happen tomorrow. I was like, all right, fine. Like, I won't fight this. They didn't ask me. They just put me on the schedule, and I was like, all right, whatever, fuck it. I won't fight this. It's just it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here and complain like that. But what is going on with actually, I am. I am because that's what I do. I talk about shit. But what's going on, OP? What's going on, Zach? What's going on, Team Mac? What's going on, Bonjour? What's going on, Rusty Corvine? Hope you're all doing well tonight. Give me that black baby. Says Bonjour Skeet. Oh boy. Um, I miss the rage, T Mac. Like I see. I don't know what that song is. I've obviously heard it like in memes and stuff like that, specifically like nostalgic memes, and I've been feeling really really nostalgic lately. In I mean, hey, I talk about it every now and again, right? My life took a turn, and I thought I was making some good moves, and I was not. And now that I'm on the other side of those moves, I understand, ooh, those were not good moves to make. These moves kind of fucking suck, honestly. And my life is like stressful. I'm not living my best life because of it. And because of that, I look back to Aria, right? He When me and Aria streamed, because for those of you that don't know, I actually know Aria. I've known Aria for a long time. We haven't talked in a long time. Up until he was on Fish Tank season 4. We hadn't talked for a long time, but I knew him a long time ago. And back when he knew me, he, in his words, said that I was living in squalor, right? And I basically was, and I never thought about it like that. And the reason why is because I was happy. I was happy living in squalor, and it's really weird, and it kind of sucks. And I'm going through a bit of a quarter life crisis at this point in my life, and luckily for me, I'm not a very irresponsible guy. I'm pretty well put together overall, but because of that, my quarter life crisis is not me like going out to bars and drinking like I'm 21. It's not doing stupid shit. um but it is thinking about some of the choices that I've made and some of the things that have happened in my life, and some people that I've met, some people that I probably should not have hung around with or been with, etc., etc. And it's a nostalgic trip down memory lane that is really like getting at me, and it's like, man, they say don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened, and it's like, fuck, man, like when after it happened you go into the position that I'm in, it's like, I don't know what there is to smile about. you know you know but hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. You got to do your thing. um like I don't want to say the best years of my life are gone, but I know that some of the best years of my life are behind me now, and it's up to me to make the future years, at least some of those future years, more of the best times of my life, more of the best years of my life, and things like that. And I'll be honest with you, the last 5 or so years, I mean, I've done some really good things. I love the fact that I got married. I love my wife. I love that I was able to be on Fish Tank and stuff like that. I'm very grateful for those things, but also like those are fleeting. Not marriage, but you know what I mean. Like, um, everyday life was something, it was a place where everything was taken out of my control, and because of that, I'm trying my best to find a way to take back that control. you know. And as usual, I'm not just talking about this because I want to bitch and moan. I'm talking about this because I think it's a I think it's a good topic to speak about, specifically because a lot of people feel the same exact way, you know. Um, the best years of my life will be watching Fish Tank season 5 and 6. Mine too, probably. Mine too. Been facing Burns as a Bums. Been facing Bums as a disaster psyop. They want to plague us with how fast it can fall apart. Yeah, yeah, you know. And like at the very least, in the 2016 era, the fall was fun, right? I cannot tell you guys how fun it was to throw on a mask and go in a public space and like confront the opposition face to face and maybe throw a couple punches at them. I cannot tell you how fun that is if you did not experience it, and you will never get to experience that again in our lifetime because it's just not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen that way, you know. Um. Oh, okay. Uh. Hold on one sec. I got to mute my phone, my telephone. Um. But yeah. Anyway, like I cannot describe to you how fun that was. You know, like over and above all, it was fun to me. Did we do a lot of good? I mean, I like to think we did a lot of good because of some of the things that came out after as a result of my time in dissident politics and things like that, right? And I wasn't some e-celeb. I'm not some e-celeb right now. So of course, like people are only gonna pay attention to like the e-celebs and shit like that. They're not gonna realize what's going on underneath that, where like you have dudes that aren't trying to grift. You know, funny enough, actually, I named this something. Oh yeah, right wing grifting Friday night is what it was called. Is what I'm calling it. But um, like it's really hard to explain why I'm still in love with those years of my life. And honestly, I think the best way to put it was that I felt like a pirate. You know, I felt like there was actually adventure to be had in my life. You know, my life now has become so um um predictable, and I have so much responsibility to other people besides myself and my wife that are not good people for me to have responsibilities towards. That it's really really tough. You know, it's really really tough to be in that situation. You know, but like I always look back to the time where yeah, I was living in a rooming house with 30 crackheads and we all had to share bathrooms, and I'm pretty sure I got like a fungus on my toenails because of that shit that I'm like finally going to the doctor to deal with now. Um like yeah, sure. Like not ideal by any means, but you know what? At the very least, I didn't have to work 40 hours and then teach classes for a guy who doesn't want to run his own gym. And instead of just shutting it down, he's like putting it's one of those classic move. I don't know if you've dealt with somebody like this before, but basically, if you've ever dealt with someone who they start something up, right? Like say an MMA gym, and they decide they don't want to teach the classes. So what they'll do is they'll show up, and when they see you have showed up, somebody who they can rely on to do stuff, they won't even say anything. They won't even be like, "Hey man, I'm sorry, I kind of need you to teach classes today. Is that cool? Can you do that for me, please?" It's literally like they'll just look at you and be like, "All right, catch you later," and they just walk off. Like they it's literally a situation where um he will just leave his business to drown, and you being someone who everybody looks to as like a responsible person around the place, they look to you to be the lifeguard, you know. Like I'm dealing with a lot of shit in my life right now, and I've been dealing with it for a long time, and I feel like this year was kind of a not even just this year, but like late last year, like literally the last year or so, has been me kind of coming to terms with the turn that my life has taken, and like realizing that I need to do something to get out of it, and like realizing who's good and who's not, you know, if it makes sense. Um, Zombie apocalypse type of shit. Yeah, dude. Fucking it's especially in your area, you know. Fucking I hear where you're at. T Mac is you know, not a fun place. Not a fun place when it comes to the homeless. Um, what's going on, Cherry Blossom? Yeah, it just sucks, you know. It sucks. You expect people who you take care of are gonna take care of you back, and then they don't, and it's like, what can you even do? It's like I can't bitch at that guy to get him to treat me right. You know, it's what am I gonna do, dude? Fucking, that's not cool what you're doing, man. You can't be doing that to people, man. That's not all right. Yeah, good luck with that one. If he gave a fuck, he wouldn't have done that shit in the first place. You know, it's just like my parents. I talked about it on a. Oh yeah, I have a Reddit post I want to show you guys as well, but I talk about it every now and again, and I talked about it on Twitter recently because again, it's really been weighing down on me. I'm 30 years old. My wife is 31. She's about 6 months older than me. You know, we're getting to that point where it's kind of like make or break unless we want to start taking some real big chances. You know, um, when it comes to having kids, I mean, and like when my grandfather died in 2021, he died of COVID, and he left us two properties. There was his house, and then there was a house in New Hampshire just over the border. And instead of like my mom and my aunt, who were his only children, instead of them like giving me one, or what I also suggested to them was instead of letting us pay rent to them, to live in one of them, what they did was they decided they would sell the New Hampshire house, and then because they owned half, they each owned half, was the idea, was that um my aunt owned half of the house and then my mom owned the other half of the house. Basically, they both decided to sell the New Hampshire house. They took their halves of the money. Then my aunt sold her house, which she bought for like 215, $220,000, somewhere around there, in 2011, mind you. So like this is 2021. She's 10 years into paying off that loan in the first place. So she makes about $200,000 of profit because she sold it for about 450. And then on top of that, like it's not even just that. There's a little bit more because, like I said, she was a third of the way through paying off the mortgage in the first place. She takes that and she buys out my mom's half of that house. So she is now living mortgage free in a house with no kids. She doesn't have kids. You know, fucking um, mortgage free in a house with no kids. Too old to have kids at this point, you know. And my wife and I, we're telling my parents every time we're over there, yeah, we're gonna try and figure out how we're gonna have kids. Haha, yeah, we want to have kids real soon, but I'm hoping we can be able to, man. Haha. Um, like we're sitting here telling that to my parents, and they're just like, oh, all right. Oh, well, good. That's good. Nice. Oh, well, you know. It's like, holy fuck. It's like shit, man. You know, that's why I've been harping on boomers so much lately. You know, I feel like I tell this story once a stream because it's just like I'm realizing more and more every day just how awful it is, just how like disgustingly bad that is. And as much as I talk about it on stream, my wife and I talk about it with each other all the fucking time. You know, and it's like, ah, fuck. And there's nothing I can, like, I can't even make them feel bad about it. You know, like it's that type of thing where you walk up to somebody and you're like, hey man, that's not cool what you did, and their response is something like, oh well, sorry you feel that way. It's like that kind of response. It's like there's no point in even talking to them. You know, even like I'm gonna have to move hundreds of miles away to find like greener pastures, and my grandkids aren't gonna know my grandkids. What the fuck? My kids aren't gonna know their grandparents the way that I got to know mine because I was either living in the town they lived in or a town over. Some of my best memories growing up were like every Saturday I would go to my nana's house and there would be some of my cousins there. You know, it was a thing. We had an aunt and uncle that would bring their kids too, and you know, their kids were around our age. You know, me and my brother. You know, so many great memories, so many like cool things, so much fun that we had. hanging out at my nana's house and stuff like that. And I'm not going to be able to do that with my kids. I'm not going to be able to bring them to nana's house or Grammy and Grampy's house or whatever. I'm not going to be able to do that with them. And it's like, I don't even think they're going to care. I think to them it's just like, whatever. Well, Either that or what they're gonna do is like, now that I'm down in fucking Idaho or Nebraska or wherever the hell I have to go to, they're gonna be like, oh, but can we see them in the summertime? Hey, can you bring them over for the summertime? Can you bring them for summer? But can we come down there for Christmas? And it's like, you know what? I don't know, man. It's really gonna depend on what I feel like fucking doing at that point. And then they'll probably try and be like, oh, but why aren't you letting me see my grandkids though? But why not? But I love them. Don't you want them to know their grandparents just like you knew yours? And it's like, at like, the second they try that guilt trip, I swear I'm gonna be like, yo, it won't even be them. Like, my dad's cool about it. My dad's cool about it. My dad and I, we had an understanding from a very young age that my mom was a fucking kook. What's going on, by the way, Neon? Um, she like we always, you're the second person to say that to me, Neon. Fucking, and I think it's always fucking stupid to be like, you got to do this with your appearance. But anyway, fucking, what was I gonna say? Like, it's crazy. Did anybody else here have an understanding with their dad that their mom was just a fucking kook, and that you gotta just be like, all right, whatever with her. Did anybody else have that understanding at all? Not just like, oh, well, you know how women are. No, like, literally, like, yo, mom's a kook. Like, just whatever you do, just make sure I don't have to listen to her bitch and moan about it. Um, like, my dad's gonna get it. My dad's gonna get it. My mom, she's gonna try and be like, oh, but, and I'm gonna be like, yo, eat shit, you stupid bitch. If you wanted to see your grandkids, you should have let me pay you rent. You should have let me pay you rent so that I could live in your dad's old house. And you literally, we give you a key and you could come over anytime. You don't even have to let us know. Just fucking come on over and knock on the door and, oh, hey, there they are. It's just like, holy fuck, man, It's Hugo Boss belt buckle time, pretty much. Pretty fucking much, dude, It's sickening. Hyper aggressive passive aggressors, says T-Mac. Oh, man. Why am I getting Holocaust ads on a Scott stream? Yeah, like, narcissists and sociopaths and things like that, they have a way of operating, and it can be really tough to put words to, even if you're acutely aware of it. Like, I'm aware of all of the moves my mom pulls. I'm aware of all of the moves my coach pulls. I'm aware of all of the moves everybody pulls, to the point where, like, it's been a little over a year since I literally had a conspiracy against me at my work. Did I ever tell you? No, of course I told you guys that. I told you guys as it was going down. There was this guy at my work, right? He was a manager, and he was like the manager. He was the boss of the place. And he had it out for me because I told him no a couple of times. Not like, no, fuck you. Not like inappropriate no. Like things where I had a choice. Like for instance, with blood games, right? If I didn't tell this guy no last summer, I would not have been able to take part in blood games because I would have been working the summer. I knew blood games was coming up in addition to some other stuff that I had to do. So because of that, I was like, okay, no, I'm not going to work the summer. And when I put down, no, I'm not going to work the summer, which was well within my right to do so, he pulled me aside and was like, hey, Scott, he's not even my boss at this point. He's just like touring the facility so that he can like get a feel for it and stuff like that. He like, I don't answer to this guy at this point. You know, he pulls me aside. He's like, "Hey, Scott, I just want to make sure we get off on the right foot here. You said that you were not going to work the summer. I just want to let you know that you're not going to have a choice, because if you try to put in for unemployment, if you try to put in for unemployment for the summer, it's going to get denied. We're going to deny it." And literally the way he said that, the tone he said that, for one thing, like, he was somebody that I knew I could not allow more than two words out of his mouth, you know? But the way he said it, the tone he said it, the way he, like, that calm, cool, collected, like, psychopath shit, was just like, nah, I know all about you. And because of that, I was able to win. I won. That guy got fired, not me. Fucking the top guy in the company got fired instead of me. Fucking, and that's because I was fucking playing cards. I was pulling strings in ways that I knew I had to, because of the way that this guy was, you know. I don't know where that guy is now, you know. Nah, not Jewish or Indian. He was actually black. He was actually black. I want a little bit more space between me and the incidents and things like that before I start name dropping dudes, but I'm going to name drop the guy at some point, you know. Yeah, I'm gonna start using his name. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, like literally, like, having dealt with people like that my whole life, I understood how, like, to deal with this guy, and I knew that, like, the last thing I should do is allow him to have an open forum to be able to speak. So because of that, whenever he tried to say anything to me, I would always make sure to cut him off, you know. He'd be like, "Hey, Scott, so I just want to make it clear that you're not allowed to no, I'm doing what I want here." Literally, like the only way to counter sociopathy is with autism. You have to be autistic with those people, because they prey upon emotion. They prey upon feelings that the average autist has muted tendencies towards, right? That's the way that it is with those guys. Oh, excuse me. Do 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 do. Jujitsu. Sorry, I just want to get something up that I'm gonna take a look at. I made the front page of a subreddit, but he's probably jiving on the block, or at a Walmart or cruise ship. If I had to take a wild guess, he'll be fine. Yeah, I could see him being like a cruise ship guy, you know, because he is what would be colloquially known as an Uncle Tom. He was definitely that kind of guy. And the way he would speak was the most disgusting thing about him, right? Like let's say I was trying to this paint, right? Let's say I was trying to sell you this paint. The way I would sell you the, like me, I'm not a salesman or anything like that, but like there's a sweet spot with salesman shit where, like, if I'm on this side, he's on the other side, where it's like I'm not good enough, he's too good, to the point where it scares people and it makes them like, what the fuck is this guy's deal? Ugh, ugh, get away from me, you freak, you know? But like, if I was to sit here and sell you this, right? Or if I was him and I was trying to sell you this, I'd be like, what we have here is some apple barrel matte Tuscan red. Tuscan red is a beautiful color. Have you ever seen Tuscan red on a wall before? It is absolute, like, you can hear the breath that he takes every time. There's a slight lip smack. There's always a It is absolutely beautiful. It is flawless. I put it on my stuff at home, and it is absolutely. When I get home, I feel positively warm and fuzzy, because that is what this color does to you. Like, he's that kind of guy. I can't do him justice, because, like, that's not my personality. But like, the tones he uses, it's like who you think you're fooling, man? You fucking creep. The fuck out of here. You know, get out of my face. What were you painting is the question. Fuck him. Don't worry about that one. Don't worry about that one, Neon. Fucking How much for a name drop? You give me $100. I'll tell you his name. Fucking. But yeah. Actually no. I won't do that. I won't do that. No, not right now. Anyway, not right now. Um, what is he painting his friggin' trap house, dude? Fucking. Is he like the person that whenever he starts talking, the Uncle Ruckus theme from Boondocks would start playing if there was a background band? Well, no, like he was. He's not like an Uncle Ruckus caricature. He's just like very prim and proper. Oh, I was waiting for the TTS. What's going on, Peach Boy? Yo, I'm on the East Coast for the week. Didn't realize you boys went so late. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The city never sleeps. The East Coast never sleeps, sir. Um, Thank you for the $5, oh Peach Boy. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's not like he wasn't the kind of guy who is like gonna be like hating himself or anything. What I mean is suit and tie type of guy. The type of guy who would wear like loafers and stuff like that. The dude who like when you say, hey, just casual wear, man, casual wear. You don't got to worry about dressing up or anything like that. He shows up in like business casual type shit or like casual wear. I'm curious what'll happen if I um mm, yeah, I'll do like this instead. Yeah, like the type of guy who would show up wearing shit like this, where it's like, yo, dude, this is a baseball game, bro. What are you doing? Like that shit right there. It's really like weird and annoying, and like he's someone who um very Patrick Bateman in the way that he like takes pride in his appearance and stuff like that. And the reason he got fired is because he was trying to fuck temp workers. Is what was happening. There were some inappropriate dealings he had with some temp workers, and enough of them reported it at the suggestion of not just me but other people as well, that they had no choice but to get him the fuck out of there. Um, Even as elderly fans stay up late like me. Yes, indeed, Neon. It's way past your bedtime. Fuck 'em. Business casual baseball bleachers. Yeah. Um, that's that's the perk. That's the perk of being the boss. Don't hate. Yeah. Yeah. Fucking. What was I gonna say? Yeah. He's just like a weird freak. Dealing with people like that, like I've dealt with so many of them throughout my whole life that by the time I was dealing with this guy, it was like he had no clue who he was dealing with. Fucking. I sent emails to the higher ups and stuff like that every time I heard anything. I heard I was driving by. This is when I was out for my shoulder injury. I'm out on my shoulder injury, and I drive by and I see the dude like about to fucking run the red light out of the parking lot. I pulled over immediately and fucking sent an email, like that type of shit. I'd send him emails just to get on his nerves. And one of the last things that I did to try and communicate with this guy was when I heard that he got fired, I sent him an email pretending like I had no clue he got fired. Basically trying to be like, hey, so I have that information that you were asking for. Here it is. Let me know if you need anything else. Just as one last little like, hey fucker, I'm here. You're not. You're not. Like one last little thing like that. And something like that is just enough, right? Like you and I, we would look at that as like, oh, this guy's mistaken. He doesn't realize that I'm not here anymore. But someone like him would look at that and be like, he'd be like seething about it. Um, but yeah, it'd be funny if this guy was Bert. It was. How'd you know? And and then season three of Fish Tank started, and all of a sudden he was on there. Um, Thoughts on Taekwondo? Taekwondo could be good, but it depends on where you're going and what kind of stuff is going on with it. Like, if you get good Taekwondo mixed with boxing, you're in good shape. But like I understand why it has the reputation it has. It definitely has earned that reputation. It's just like karate. Like depending on what kind of karate you do, it can be really good. But you can't blame anybody for being like, oh, karate, those guys don't know how to fight. You really can't blame anyone for it. It's a lot better than a lot of kung fu out there. I'm actually getting ready for a tournament right now, if you could even call it that. Basically, there's this like kung fu sort of competition that's going on in Boston that I figured I'd take part in because they have Sanda sparring, much in the way that that place in Connecticut had. But the difference between the Connecticut one and then this place is that they're not lying to us about it being like semi-contact or something like that, because that's what happened with the place in Connecticut. I don't know how many of you guys were watching me back then, but there's a video on my channel where I forget exactly what it's called, but I know you can find it. I went down to a tournament in Connecticut. It was like a traditional martial arts, Chinese martial arts tournament. And for the first time in that tournament's history, they were going to have a Sanda competition. And the idea was that it was going to be light contact or semi-contact or something like that. So I was like, oh, well, I mean, I don't mind full contact, but, like, full speed or whatever you want to call it, right? I don't mind that, but if this is the only Sanda I can get around here, then fuck it, I'll prepare for something like that. I go there, and it turns out that it was just a way to lure, like, Chinese martial arts nerds in to get beat up by actual Sanda practitioners. I'll go ahead and I'll show you guys, right? Yeah, let's go. Here. Like when you think of Chinese martial arts, you tend to think of like when you think of Chinese martial arts, you don't tend to think of this. But it's some real shit, as you're gonna see. This is just fucking kickboxing, what they're doing right here. And then the cool thing about it is that you see the way they're clinching. That's because in this you're allowed to take people down and stuff like that. Whoop. Not allowed to kick people to the nuts though. But you get the point. Like they wanted to take guys who are Tai Chi dudes that spend all their time going in the park and shit like that, and they wanted to beat the fuck out of them. So like when I got there and I saw that, I was like, okay, I know I could beat these guys, but I also didn't prepare for that. And I'm so caught off guard, and frankly, I'm so disgusted by what's going on right now. I don't want to be a part of this. So we're just gonna leave. We're gonna head on out. I literally I had a video planned for it, and this is in the early days of my channel. So what it was supposed to be was if you remember the show Fight Quest or the show Human Weapon, I was actually going to do a series on my channel that was inspired by Fight Quest and Human Weapon and stuff like that. And the idea was I was going to go around to a bunch of different tournaments for martial arts that I haven't like done extensively, and I was just going to enter them and see how I did. And that was like that no that was I think that was the second one where I was like, okay, excuse me, like I went to a tournament where I haven't like officially done that martial art in a long time or at all. That was supposed to be the second one, and it went so poorly because of that. I was like, honestly, bro, like I don't want to take these chances again, taking time off work to spend money to get a hotel to go to a place just to be like, this is stupid. Let's get the fuck out of here. What's going on, big boss? What's going on? Aminesto is the besto as well. But yeah, it's like, oh, excuse me. What was I gonna say? Yeah, the reason why I was explaining that is because I'm going to another place where I'm gonna try to partake in Shuai Jiao competition, which is a Chinese form of wrestling. It's actually like pretty good too. I'll show you Shuai Jiao. I'm gonna start preparing for that soon because I have a little bit over 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Geez, a little bit over 2 months to try it out. This is this is a good representation of Shuai Jiao though. Like I said, it's jacket wrestling, but there's no ground component. It's all takedowns, which I find to be pretty interesting. And then some of the takedowns you see from these guys are really interesting. Like that kind of hip throw right there, right? Everybody's seen hip throws before, but the way he utilizes the leverage on the hip throw is all from the pull of that jacket specifically, and it's really interesting to see that. Let's slow that down a little bit. Let's slow that down just a little bit so you guys can hopefully get a better look for. Oh. Like, it's really cool to see this, because what happens a lot of the time is with like a Seonagi, which is what that basically was, or like a head and arm throw in wrestling, you go hip to hip in a way that these guys don't, and I find that to be really cool, really interesting. There's a lot of just like I'm gonna step and I'm gonna pull you and you're gonna end up fucking flying. It's cool to see these guys work. I'm really excited to be able to take part in this, and then in addition to that, I'm also thinking about doing the Sanda one, depending on how well I feel I'm ready to do so. And it's I'm excited to get in there and get against people that don't know me and I don't know them. Even if it's a situation where it's like I'm probably gonna have to take it easy on a lot of these dudes, because a lot of these guys are gonna be dudes where it's like, again, they're either gonna be like traditional martial arts guys, or it's gonna be like a dude who's like he trains at an MMA place, and he's getting his first feel for what a smoker would be like and stuff like that. Um, Scott goes to an unknown tournament and has to fight Scorpion and Sub Zero. That's exactly what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go into Boston. I'm gonna have to turn down an alley. I'm gonna be like looking at the map. I can't even find it on my phone. They mailed me a map on like an old piece of parchment. And I'm like, huh, all right, down this alley. I look down there. It's just like a lava pit, spikes everywhere. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I'm excited for that. That's gonna be fun. I'm happy that that's gonna be going down. Happy that that's gonna be happening. Um, yeah, I'm good to go. So, since we're on the topic of martial arts here, I wanted to talk about this. This is r/jujitsu, and I am on the front page with 254 upvotes and 122 comments. So I posted this morning, and somebody told me that they saw me on here, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Basically, what I said is the secret nobody wants to admit about grappling is you can make it really far with muscle, aggression, and grit. You don't need the greatest technique till you get to the regional level in high school wrestling or purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and even then, you can still do okay. Now, what I mean by this, it's all in there. It's all in there, right? I obviously don't mean technique is not needed at all. You definitely need technique. You want technique, right? Technique is what makes jujitsu. But the idea that you have to be a white belt with the best hip escape, you have to be a white belt with the best scissor sweep or something like that. It's just not the case. Going to a white belt tournament, it's less about who is like the better grappler and more about who is better at being heavy and just controlling the other guy and stuff like that. And it's kind of the same thing with blue belts in jiu-jitsu and stuff like that too. Same thing with wrestling, right? If you are a youth wrestler, if you're getting started, you're 7, 8 years old, some places they start even younger than that. You don't need to worry about having the best double leg takedown ever. What you need to worry about doing is getting comfortable with the idea of aggression so that you can blast straight through people, right? Because what happens a lot of the time, and this is what happened with me when I was wrestling. This was part of my issue, was if this is the guy that I'm trying to shoot in on, what I have to do is I need to take my weight and I need to blast straight through the guy, right? Instead, what I would do though is I would be more focused on technique And because of that, I'd do a really, really nice looking double leg takedown. But the thing is, when I would hit him, I'd stop. And because of that, he could sprawl out on me. And that would not be good. And it would just lead to bad things, right? Like looking back at my high school career, realizing I probably could have done a lot better than I did if I was just more aggressive. It didn't even have to be like better technique or anything like that. If I was just more aggressive, if I was just more like, if I was just more of a bully, I I would have done a lot better than what I did. I was mediocre at best, if I'm being honest with you, right? Because these guys that I was facing off against, including dudes that my senior year were ranked in the top 10, I can remember them not being that good. Especially there was this one guy, he was ranked like sixth in the state or something like that, and I went up against him at a tournament, and he was just a defensive wrestler. Like he didn't shoot in. He waited for you to shoot in, and he really he depended on you not being able to shoot all the way through him, you know. And like I remember this kid specifically because I remember thinking like that was number six. Like yeah, I mean I lost, but like I didn't get beat up the way I thought I would by the number six guy in the state, even if it is just Massachusetts. Like that, like the number six guy should have been able to do a lot more to me than he did, you know. But like again, it was less that that guy was that good and more that a lot of people weren't comfortable with the idea of just like blasting through somebody and stuff like that, you know. So if you're a youth wrestler, or if you're gonna have like a son or a daughter who you're gonna make into a youth wrestler, don't worry about, but you got to do the double leg like this, you got to do it like this. Worry about, hey, like I want you to just run straight through this person, you know. I want you to run straight through them, you know. Like find drills to up the aggression, find drills to up their commitment, you know. Well, like that's the thing about breaking boards, right? Is that breaking boards is useless other than in a couple of different ways, and one of those ways is commitment, right? Because the idea is, you know, if you're using a board that's actually worth it, if you don't commit to that punch, you're not going to break through the board. If anything, you might hurt your hand or something. So you have to get used to the idea of, I'm trying as hard as I can to break this fucking thing. You know, I'm not holding back. I'm not going to like hesitate. It's just right through and that's it. You know, like you need to be able to take that and expand it onto the entire body, you know, not just with punches, right? And there's drills you can do, like football. Lineman drills specifically are like Oklahoma's. There were some other drills and stuff like that that were like they were good for that kind of thing. Like if I wanted to, and I don't want to do this. I don't want my kids to be fighters, though I will be teaching them how to fight. But like if I decided like I had stars in my eyes and I was like I'm gonna turn my kid into the ultimate athlete, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get them in gymnastics as early on as possible, and then in addition to that, like when I'm working with them myself, I'm literally gonna have them do football drills or rugby drills or something like that. I don't even need to make them play football. I don't have to like have them play football. If they wanted to, yeah, okay, sure, why not? But like the idea would be we're doing those drills in the backyard so that they are already comfortable with the idea of having to break somebody in half, you know? Um, Scott is a Reddit admin. Dude, shut up. Shut up, dude. Shh. Dude, quiet. Shh. Shut up, too. What are you doing? Do I like Jägermeister? I've had Jägermeister. It's not the worst thing that I've ever had. The worst alcohol I think I've ever had was peppermint schnapps. And I don't know if it's because schnapps are bad. I'm not a big fan of schnapps in the first place, but like I don't know if it's that schnapps are bad or if it's that I had a really bad night with the peppermint schnapps, and because of that, the idea of peppermint alcohol now it makes me want to, you know, it makes me want to do that. Scott, what if you have a kid and they have red hair? What will you do? I'll shave it. I'll shave it, man. But yeah, some of these comments, right? Yeah, you're not beating most blue belts with aggression and grit unless you're a lot bigger and stronger. Do you know how bad blue belts are, Mr. Brooklyn Red 211? Blue belts are not that good. This is actually something I said that a lot of people agreed with on my social medias and stuff like that. I put out a reel or a short or a TikTok or whatever within the last year or two where I said blue belts are sophomoric belts, and if you're a sophomore, that means you're a sophisticated moron. You are smart but stupid. You know, you know very little to the point where you're actually a detriment to yourself because the Dunning-Kruger effect is going to take hold, and you're going to think, oh well, I mean, I know how to sprawl, so that means I'm a good grappler now, right? Blue belts are not that good, you know. Exactly. This sounds like a guy who came in at 220 pounds of muscle and never had to learn real jujitsu until purple belt. You see, and this right here, we're not going to read through every single one of these. I do remember seeing a couple that I'd like to track down, but given the amount of these, right now, I don't know if that's going to happen. I really don't know if that's going to happen, but um you see, and this is one of those things that really annoys the fuck out of me. And of course, it's a white belt saying this. Of course, it's a white belt saying this because this is a white belt idea. Is that real jujitsu only happens when you're doing like some kind of weird leg entanglement. Real jujitsu only happens when you have a really slick guard pass that you're able to use on somebody, you know? And jujitsu and grappling in general, but especially jujitsu, has a bias towards smaller guys. It's almost a place where like small, weak guys go and try and make their safe space. And there's this weird, uncomfortable elephant in the room that is big guy jujitsu, where instead of them understanding it for what it is, which is the best way for somebody that size to move and utilize their body and their biomechanics and stuff like that, they just go, "That's not real jujitsu. That's not real jujitsu. That's not actually real jujitsu. That's just big guy moves. That's what that is. That guy just does big guy moves." And it's like, well, why doesn't your real jujitsu beat the big guys then? Why doesn't your real jujitsu beat the big guy moves? What's your deal? What's your problem? You know, your jujitsu just fucking sucks then, or maybe jujitsu sucks. I don't know which. I mean, hey, hey, you know. It's really like it's really annoying, and I talk about this every now and again. Like the redditization of jujitsu is one of the worst things to ever happen, where like they have this thing where belts don't matter, but also belts do matter, but also belts are just like they cover 2 inches of your ass, and that's what one of the Gracies said. So haha, but also the Gracies don't know anything. But and Gordon Ryan and John Danaher and Mike Musameshi and the Meow Brothers and this and that and the other thing. It's just like it's a weird circle jerk. It's a weird fucking circle jerk, you know? Like at the end of the day, like you don't know anything if you're a white and you're a blue belt. You need to keep your mouth shut, and that includes on Reddit. Like don't be coming into the don't be coming into the fucking like don't be coming into the shit trying to tell the black belts here. You know what? Fucking you know what? Because when I cut this out, right? When I there no, but when I cut this out, fucking there's gonna be people who are like, oh, what does that guy know? What does that guy know? Fucking here. Here's my black belt. Here's my black belt. It was literally sitting on the floor next to my chair. Because that's how much I give a shit. But like fucking all these white and blue belts who want to act like they know something, they come in here and they say weird shit like he didn't have to learn real jujitsu until purple belt. It's like, well, that just means that white and blue belt are belts that are not that good at jujitsu, and because of that, you're kind of proving my point, whether you realize it or not. You know, um, man. Yo, Scott, I saw you on Instagram live at 2 or 3 a.m. smoking a black and mild, watching some guy clean a toilet. What's going on, big guy? Fucking, I don't even know what's going on, bro. I'm still trying to figure it out. You know? But yeah, There was another couple ones, right? There was another couple ones. It's more valid than most jujitsu coaches want to admit. No gi, maybe, definitely not gi, definitely both, right? I would assume that this guy is actually a black belt, right? BJJ Black Belch. That's kind of a joke because jujitsu's because the jujitsu's down in South America, because Brazilians, they say, oh, you're black belch, you're purple belch. Congratulations on your blue belch. They talk like that. Um, Not sure how far it goes, but two white belts going at it, strength and size tends to be a large factor in victory. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that if you're a white belt, you're gonna beat the black belt with like strength and aggression and everything like that. What I'm saying is when it's two white belts, when it's two blue belts, even purple belts in some cases, when it's two purple belts who are going with each other, there's a good chance that whoever the more aggressive, whoever the stronger, whoever the grittier guy, he's gonna have a much easier time imposing his will. That's just the way it is. I'm no expert, but I would agree with them. I don't know, sir. I don't know, sir. You're agreeing with an expert here. You're agreeing with an expert, so I would say that makes you just as good as the expert. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Maybe so if you're talking really big athletic guys that can explode out of submissions. Conversely, I've caught much bigger muscular guys in submissions. Their defense was lacking. I do have some experience: high school wrestling, judo, currently and BJJ, currently blue belt, and weigh 155 pounds. So basically, what you're saying is you're a pretty experienced grappler, and because of that, you were able to catch less experienced guys in submissions. Gee, what a surprise! What a fucking surprise! But no, it's not just big athletic guys that can explode out of submissions. Somebody who is 155 pounds. If they're aggressive, like I said, it's gonna do well for them. Oh, and this is another one. This is another one of my favorite ones right here. You can make it far, until your body can't handle it anymore. Have a string of serious injuries. Have your body give up on you before you really amount to much and end up not being able to train properly in your old age. It's like going to the gym and lifting too heavy too often. It's just a matter of time before something goes wrong. Like, I don't know if I believe that. I got to be honest with you. Like, I've actually no fucking yeah, this dude right here is basically saying what I was gonna say. Is like, I've trained with so many old guys that don't know how to fucking cool it. I've trained with so many old ass motherfuckers to the point where it's like I'm so glad the day they leave the gym. I'm so glad because I just get tired of having to deal with them constantly trying to fucking kill me. And like every time you talk to them, like, hey man, take it easy, they're like, oh, but I mean, I'm not gonna do good if I take it easy. And it's like, yeah, you're a fucking white belt, dude. You're not supposed to be doing good. You're supposed to suck when you're going up against a brown belt. That's what's gonna happen. Knock it off. Shut the fuck up and knock it off. Like, it's annoying having to deal with people like that. It's annoying having to fucking do that shit with people. It's just fucking dumb. It's stupid, and people are stupid. But anyway, like, I think this is yeah. You know what? Fuck it. I'm a third degree black belt, so no, we'll read this whole thing. Apparently, this is the OP too. I mean, I trained for a few months at this one place with a bunch of old guys who only ever tried to kill me with strength. Some of them blue and purple belts. They didn't seem to break down. Maybe they have since I left. I don't know. Just seems weird to imply that athletes can only be athletic for a certain amount of time, as if someone who has good technique isn't also doing a sport too. And that's a good point right there. Is like what the guys that are using technique are not also doing an athletic thing. They're not operating. They're not doing the same thing as the guy who's always trying to go hard all the time. Like, no, of course not. Everybody is gonna get like fucked up at some point, one way or another. I don't know any black belts that don't have something wrong with them. Even I have shit wrong with me. My neck is fucked up, right? It's mostly because of work and bad posture, but there have been a couple of times over the years where some fucking asshole grabs my head and fucking yanks it like that, and because of that I get hurt. There's been a couple of times that has happened to me. I also have a bum knee as well. He says, I'm a third degree black belt, so I've seen many people come and go. Your body will give up on you sooner or later. The more technique you use, the more careful and mindful you are when you roll, the longer you will last. I mean, in theory, yeah, but I mean, honestly, like how long are people doing it for? You know, most people aren't going to get to the level that I'm even at. You know, this guy's a third degree black belt. That means he's got 3 stripes on his belt. I have none. I just got my black belt this summer. You know, June 1st. So this guy like it's not even that he knows more than me. He's just been doing it longer than me. Is really what it is. You know, I'm sure there's things that he's better at than I am, right? And I'm sure there's things that I'm better at than he is, right? But overall, like most people aren't doing it the way we're doing it, you know? So it's just like, yeah, whatever. Still seems like a cope to me is all I'm saying. Seeing old guys who started old and are muscling their way to purple belt will do a number on you with that claim. But then again, what do I know? This guy says you've trained a few months. I've trained almost 20 years. Let's say that our perspectives are different. Train how you like. I'm just giving my opinion. Then this dude says, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if this guy really is a third degree black belt, then I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm just saying that I do feel much like what this guy said. I mean, he called it a cope. You know, I feel like this is a cope that people who do not have a lot of strength utilize. You know, it's like literally they said the same exact thing when I was doing karate, because the karate training that I was doing was very, very little, if any, sparring. And the sparring that we did was a fucking joke. You weren't allowed to punch to the head. You were allowed to back fist to the temple because you had a helmet on. Literally a helmet. You know, like those karate type helmets. You were allowed to back fist to where the helmet is here. But you weren't allowed to throw straight punches or hooks to the face. To here. You're only allowed to hit here, right? And I can remember there was a time where my sensei's sensei, the guy that instructed her for years, he came up and he visited and he taught a couple of classes. And I went to one of those classes and he sat there and I feel like he was throwing shade at me. I got to be honest with you, because I did tell him that I do other martial arts as well. And there was kind of like like he was trying to be Hollywood about it, as if I was trying to impress him, as opposed to what I was really doing, which was just nerd out about martial arts, like I figured he would want to do. But fucking like at the end of the class he starts talking about like the importance of kata, and he's like, yeah, kata is what allows you to train for long periods of time without getting beat up and hurt and stuff like that. That way when you're 60 you can still train instead of always trying to kill each other and stuff like that and hurting each other. And it's like, yeah, karate says the same exact fucking thing, you know, and look at what they're doing. It's a cope. It's their way of trying to be like, oh well, actually we're just as good. You see, we're just as good, actually. We're just as good, you know? You can also wipe your ass with a brown belt and no one will know. That's exactly what I was doing. Get enough poop on a white belt and that makes you an instant brown belt, IMO. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. My uncle was in the Commonwealth Games for judo a while back. Damn, that's pretty cool, Frozen Joe. That's really cool, you know? Define really far. Bullying your gym mates who are smaller, weaker, or less technical? Yes. Going to elite tournaments and fighting people your size and rank? Not as much. I mean, fucking who in here is gonna do any of that? You know? The fact of the matter is, if you're starting at 5 years old, let's say, right? You're gonna get to high school, you're gonna have about 10 years of wrestling. In that time, there are different tournaments and things like that you can do, that you can have like quite a bit of success at, you know. Now, and here's the other thing too, right? I'm not saying that like, and again, I said this in the beginning. I'm not saying you don't need technique. What I'm saying is you don't have to worry about being Mr. Technique. Just learn a few good things. Have 3 moves from every position and just use those moves. Don't worry about having a tilt series, you know, specifically speaking about wrestling. Don't worry about having a tilt series. Don't worry about knowing 5 ways to hit a Peterson. Don't worry about trying to specialize in being a spladle guy or something like that. Just 3 moves from neutral, 3 moves from top, 3 moves from bottom, and have a couple of those moves from top. Make sure they are pinning moves. They are moves that it's not just going to be break the guy down and ride. It's going to be break the guy down, flip him, and get your fucking back points and or a pin, right? Like, just make sure it's that, and you're gonna go so fucking far off of that, combined with just the gusto, just the gall of going in there and being like, yeah, I'm gonna get right in your face and I'm gonna shoot in for a double, and I'm gonna do it so hard and so fast that you're not gonna be able to do anything about it, because this whole time you were training fucking half speed, half assed, not even realizing it, because some fucking idiot coach was like, oh, well, technique is what matters. Technique is what matters. You don't try to muscle everything. Technique is what matters. It's like what I was talking about. It's bad advice that people give from an egotistical place. It's their ego giving the bad advice, and a lot of the time they don't even realize the advice is bad. They have the best intentions. It's like what I was talking about with being a pitcher in the MLB. They don't care if you're throwing the ball and it's traveling 10 feet over the batter's head. They don't care if you're bouncing it on the way to the plate. As long as you're doing so at 95 to 100 miles an hour, they'll figure out a way to make it work with you. They'll find the best coaches to come in and they'll help you to succeed, because they want you to succeed, because you succeeding means they're going to succeed too, because now they have a guy who pitches 95 to 100 consistently, who is going to be able to play for their team. But if you're growing up playing baseball your entire life, what you're being told is, no, hey, slow down, don't throw that hard, because when you throw that hard you get a little wild, and what we want is for you to hit spots. And it's like, no. No. There's a reason why knuckleballers don't even exist in the MLB anymore. It's because they don't want them. It's gone the way of the halfback in football. They don't have that shit anymore. Because they're more worried about speed. They're more worried about raw athletic ability. And it's the same thing with jiu-jitsu, where it's like, anybody, no matter who you are, who is an athlete, who has the ability to go bang straight through the target instead of going to the target and then stopping and then maybe starting to push again. Whoever has that ability is going to do so much better than anybody. It doesn't matter who. And that's why Gordon Ryan, right? Gordon Ryan is known for being Mr. Steroids and shit like that. And yeah, he's really, really good at jiu-jitsu too, but everybody credits his accomplishments to steroids in the first place. You have this situation where, again, people want to feel like they're able to have it both ways. Where, again, like, belts don't matter, dude. Belts, dude. I'm a purple belt, and sometimes I tap out a brown belt. He got his brown belt like last week, but I mean, I'm tapping out a brown belt, so that means I'm like a brown belt, and but also belts don't matter. Like they wanna be able to do that shit, and it's just like, no, it's stupid. At the end of the day, not none of them, but most of these people are probably like white, blue, and maybe some purple belts, and then you're gonna have like the occasional black belt, most of which are gonna agree with me. Right, most of which are gonna agree with me in one form or another, and even the one that didn't, where's he at? Where is the bastard? Where is the bastard? Fucking even the ones that are disagreeing with me, it's like they're not disagreeing with me for a good reason. They're just like making up some weird wannabe Confucius bullshit, where they're like, oh well, you see, there's two paths, and you can go down the path where you're winning tournaments, but you're doing it with strength, or you can go down the path where you're winning tournaments but with skill. And if you win tournaments with skill, it's going to be better than the strength, and blah blah blah, or like whatever, like this is midwit truth right here. This is midwit truth. This is like, well, you're winning but you're doing it the wrong way truth. Honestly, kind of like when I get upset about AoE. I can admit that sometimes I get upset about AoE. It's because I'm just being a bit of a sore fucking loser. I'll be honest here, all right? I'll admit to it, all right? I can be a sore loser sometimes, specifically when it comes to AoE. Sorry, I guess. But, like, that's basically what it is like, oh, but I don't want you to win that way because it makes me feel bad about myself. It makes me realize I've been doing it wrong. It makes me realize that, oh well, you know what, maybe I don't have the best way of doing things. Maybe that way works better for that guy, and I don't have anything to offer that guy. And maybe I feel like a fraud because I have a third degree black belt, but there's a guy who's winning tournaments and he's not doing it the way that I would do it. Ooh. Scott, are you a waterbender or a firebender? I mean, come on. What do you think? We be nice. We love our Scots. We love our Scots. Our Scot enforcement. Oh boy. I remember about a year back you were talking about people constantly giving out shitty advice. Yes, like you gotta oh, my mate was in a jiu-jitsu club until the guy running it went psycho and started making people clean his apartment and shit. Woof, whole club fell apart. Damn, that is crazy. That is insane. But yeah, like a lot of people give bad advice in general with everything, and it's based off of like a bunch of different things, you know. Sometimes it's their own ego where they're like it's crabs in a bucket, you know. It's like the way this was making its rounds. This was fuck. There we go. It was making the rounds on Twitter recently where women were talking about how if they see a woman that they think is prettier than them, they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you know what I think would look great on you? I think short hair. I think you could totally rock short hair." If I'm being honest with you, I mean, I couldn't. I need my hair to be extra long because I couldn't rock short hair like I think you could. You should definitely get a short haircut. You should get a bob. You should get a bob is what you should do. You should just fucking shave your head. You know, like one of those weird freak hipster bitches. Yeah, that's what you should do. Like literally, that's the type of advice they give out because it's a crabs in the bucket mentality thing where it's like, oh, that woman is prettier than me. I don't want her to have the attention that I want, so I'm gonna give her bad advice that if she follows, she's not gonna be prettier than me anymore. You know, literally, you have people who are like that. You have people who like they mean well, but they don't realize that the advice they're giving is dog shit. You know, it's like when somebody's like, oh well, you know, money isn't gonna buy happiness. You know, money doesn't buy happiness. It's like, yeah, dude, don't even get me started on that one. You know, we'll go back to talking about how my life is out of control. We don't want to do that. Fucking like that type of shit where it's like, even if they don't realize they're doing something bad, it's like, you gotta shut your mouth. You know, the advice a lot of people give is advice that is meant to try and help them, not you. Whether it's advice that they need to take and they're not taking it, they're just giving it out to other people, or again, if it's like if it's crabs in a bucket, or like I said, that other example where like my whole life I was told, hey, don't throw that hard, don't throw that hard, don't throw too hard. If you throw too hard, you're gonna miss the spots, and because of that, scouts aren't gonna want you. Like literally, that's what I was told by like tons of people throughout my entire baseball career. I'm sitting here throwing mad hard, like I'm 12 years old, throwing in like the mid 70s and shit like that. You know, um, like insane for a 12-year-old to be able to do that back then. I don't know about now, you know. But like that's like really good for a 12-year-old to be able to do that kind of thing. And that's the type of shit that scouts will literally start to look at you at the age of 12 and be like, he can hit that speed now. When he starts growing and he's like 15, 16, 17, we're going to have to come back. We're going to have to check this guy out, you know? I'm sitting here being told to do things that are not actually good for what could be like a fledgling baseball career by people who their main concern is, are we going to win this game? Are we gonna win this game? And because of that, they're telling me lies. They're telling me like, oh well, you know, yeah, it's really cool if you can throw hard. It's cool if you can throw. This thing's getting itchy. I want to see how long I can keep it on for, but these coaches will literally lie and be like, "Oh, hey, scouts aren't actually interested in how fast you can throw. They're only interested in whether or not you can hit the spots, whether you can control it. If you don't have control, the scouts are going to be like, hey, he throws really fast, but he doesn't control the throws. He doesn't control the pitches. So because of that, we don't want him. We can't have him. When again, like the exact opposite is the case. Like it doesn't matter how good at hitting spots you are. If you're throwing even like 89, if you're throwing high 80s, good luck. They're not going to want you. They're not going to look twice at you. You got to be at least throwing 91, 92, 93. And dudes, to my understanding, are consistently hitting the high 90s nowadays. The way I see it, every time I watch a baseball game now, I feel like I'm seeing 97, 98, 100, shit like that. It's like good fucking luck if you're only hitting 89. You ain't gonna make it. I'm sorry, bud. Hamzat or DDP. I don't know. I don't like making predictions and stuff like that. I don't like Hamzat. I know that, but I'm not gonna make a prediction about who I think is gonna win because I find that to be it's better to just watch and figure it out. I talk about it every now and again. Like I'll be honest with you, not to be an asshole. Sod, thank you for being here. And I do recognize you from streams past. Thanks for returning. But hey, who do you think is gonna win that fight? Talk is kind of like, hey, how's the weather? Talk. It's kind of like talk about the weather to me where it's like, I don't really care to have this conversation, and I don't feel like forcing conversation. I'd literally rather just be silent. I would literally rather just keep my mouth shut than have somebody be like, oh, I see you're wearing your jujitsu gi on this subway here. I, I see you went straight from jujitsu class to this McDonald's and you didn't even change. You're literally still wearing your gi. Who do you think is gonna win? DDP or Hamzat? It's like I'd rather not talk about it. Um, oh man, are elemental attacks allowed like a quick pocket sand to the eyes? They should be. They should be. Damn it. Um, Solid Sullivan, Metal Gear Sullivan. Oh boy. Oh boy. Um. Um. What your sensei is a woman? Yes. Not just that, but one of those they not they them, but one of those pronouns women. She's a woman. She goes by she her. But like literally like that's part of the reason I left. It's not the big reason, but it's part of the reason where like there were multiple points where I would walk in and we'd be doing our thing and we would have the same people in class for like a month or two and every single day we would have to reintroduce ourselves to the people in the class and that would include indoctrination because that's what that is. It's repetition and it's using social um it's using social pressure, excuse me. It's using social pressure as a means to reinforce um that bullshit. She would say, "Okay, introduce yourself to your partner. Say your name, your pronouns, and your favorite food." And the person across from me would be like, "Hi, I'm Joey. He, him. My favorite food is scallops or whatever. And my response would be, "Hi, I'm Scott. I'm I'm 29 years old, and my favorite food is pizza." And that was kind of my way of not being like a fucking annoying boomer about it because that is one thing that is cringe is like the last thing you want to be is the guy who like in the middle of a conversation or in the middle of like a function or something like that. You don't want to be the guy who's like pronouns. What are we, snowflakes? You don't want to be that guy. You want to be able to go with the flow enough as to where you're not going to cause friction, but also you don't have to give into it. It's a lot easier for you to just be like, whatever, they can do the pronouns shit. I'll tell them my age as a way to kind of fill in the blank. And if somebody has a problem with me, I'm just going to be like, I ain't saying it, sorry. not happening, but hopefully that won't be the issue. Hopefully we can just move on from it and not have to fucking do that bullshit in the first place. Hopefully it's just whatever. Um, what was I gonna say? Um, Sorry, I'm just looking around here. Just looking around here. But yeah, like that's the kind of person that my karate instructor was like a leftist, and she's not like a bad woman or anything like that. Like if I bumped into her in public, I'd gladly stop and have a chat with her real quick. I'm not going back though, because truthfully, I just like I'm just not interested in it like I was. I expected that the sparring would not be what it was, and unfortunately, even though it's a little bit better than point sparring, it's really not much better than point sparring. It's really not good. Just not good. It's not. But um good way to discreetly throw up a flag to anyone who is sick of that bullshit. My pronouns are your excellency and your majesty. Baby, that's my pronouns from now on. My pronouns are going to be your excellency or your majesty. You can call me either of those. Yeah. That's a good one, Frozen Joe. Scott, which Pokemon would you want to own IRL, and which would you want to be in Pokemon? Um, I went through a small Pokemon phase as a kid, but I never had the cards. I never had any of the games or anything like that. I just watched a little bit of the anime. So my understanding of Pokemon is very limited, but I always did like Pikachu. He's just a little yellow rat that fucking electrocutes people and shit like that. I did always like Pikachu, which I know is kind of like a basic bitch thing to be like with Pokemon, but again, like I watched like a couple of the movies that they had, and then like a season or two of the show back in like 2002. You know, um, but yeah, I was hold on one sec. Um uh, Sorry, I'm looking at some shit. Looking at some shit right now. All right, well, excuse me. I wanted to show you guys something, right? That's kind of you know, always go with zers pronouns when asked, never explain. That's a funny way to do it. But which starter would you pick? Well, like I said, I never. Oh no, the starters. I do like Charmander. You know, but anyway, oh, that's kind of a good segue into this, right? I wanted to talk a little bit about this, right? And like this is something that like I've people every now and again, like they don't like scour 4chan for me or anything like that, but like people who hang out on 4chan in the FTL thing, every now and again when they see something that has to do with me, they'll send it my way. And one of them was that somebody was calling me a grifter now or something like that. It's like, yeah, I'm doing a really good job at that grifting shit, aren't I? But um, this is a thread. I said, if the right wants to win the culture war, One Piece will be the embrace of the cultured thug mindset. You need to be able to stand up to someone who tries to attack you over whatever ideological or immutable characteristics you hold. Um, I'm not saying people go out and get into fights. It's better to avoid hostilities at all costs. But when you can't, you have to be able to swing on people who wants to hurt you. And we know most guys who look like this are the hey, that's assault types. I should have said want to hurt you, but the thing is, like, I'll halfway edit these things. I'll only halfway edit them where Like, I don't do a whole, like, all right, let's read it to make sure it's good thing. But, like, I'll start typing one thing, I'll delete it, and then I'll start typing another thing, and every now and again it doesn't mesh right, and that's an example of that. Um, oh, excuse me. Hmm. Um, it's not about fights anyway. It's about being streetwise and realistic in your thinking and acting. It's living by your philosophy unapologetically but intelligently, being the better man and not letting the lesser man have ammo to use against you, not living like a victim. The importance of this lies in the immovable nature of your character. You are who you are, you won't be shamed out of it, no one can take it from you, and they'll look foolish if they try. This attracts people to you and your lifestyle as well. This is why the dirtbag left is a thing now. It's their attempt at the cultured thug ideal. But everything they do is ham-fisted, so it gives up. So it ends up as greasy-looking Freddie Mercury impersonators who say things like "transphobia is retarded." Dude, what? Are you afraid of the subway in New York? Just look down, bro. Just look down, and the homeless guy with his dick out won't come on you. And even if he does, it's not like he's hitting your face. It's just hitting the top of your head. What? It's like shampoo, dude. You can just fucking rub it in. You can just rub it in, dude. What are you afraid? Fucking little baby conservatives, fucking afraid. You're retarded. You hear that? I called you retarded. I'm not like any leftist you've ever seen before. It's like fuck, you know. You don't have to do anything special this way either. Anything you could do, like attend a rally or wear a hat, becomes extraneous. You just live your life, and other people either rise to your level or they're too nervous to challenge you anyway. That's what was going on with that pronouns thing, right? Is that I had people who were definitely uncomfortable with my unwillingness to play the pronouns game, but because I wasn't sitting there like pronouns. What are you telling me your pronouns for, kid? I know you're obviously a boy. Oh man, wow, I can't believe. Jeez, dude. Man, I ain't doing that pronoun shit. What? It ain't obvious I'm a boy. Actually, you're right. I'm not a boy. I'm an attack helicopter. Like, um, because I wasn't doing that, I was able to just be like, no, I'm not doing it. And nobody had any real way to be like, but you have to. It gets to a point where like you're forcing the issue. And when I say you, I don't mean you meaning the guy you're not going to like give into that, but the person who is going out of their way to confront you about that, to try and go at you for it, they're forcing an issue that was never really there in the first place. You're going to do whatever you want with yourself, and you don't have to fucking like make it into a big thing. And they're gonna make it into a big thing by coming to you being like, look, I would appreciate it if you would just do these pronoun things. I know you don't believe in it, but there's people that do believe in it, and I think that's really important. You know, like that type of shit, you know? This is the realest shit. So many of these right-wing talking heads are absolutely bitch-made, and it's a bad look. I miss Based Stickman. Yeah, Based Stickman is not the guy you want to look up to, honestly. I think he was, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think he had American ideals, obviously, but I think he was also just someone who was looking for a fight, if I'm being 100% honest with you. And I say this as somebody who, my group used to work pretty close with him in the past. We had him out there one time, and then he started a group with some people in Boston called Resist Marxism. What happened was Boston free speech was a thing, and there were boomers, there were millennials and zoomers, right? And some of the millennials and zoomers, me included, right? We wanted to go in one direction with what BFS was. And the boomers and the millennials and zoomers who were very boomer minded, they wanted to go in another direction. So what happened is they started buddying up with Kyle Chapman. You know, that was his real name. Base Stickman's real name was Kyle Chapman. And they formed their own little group called Resist Marxism, which was dog shit. It was a dog shit group, and I can go into that more and more as time goes on, you know. But like with someone like Stickman though, like I will say that yes, he did kick off that whole like, hey, we're not going to get beat up by Antifa thing. We'll just beat up Antifa if they try and start with us thing, right? So you got to give him credit where it's due there. But even that to a certain extent was like it was a little too much at times, you know. And I say this as somebody who, like I said, they were some of the best times in my life. And there was a time where I was involved mainly because I was like, oh, like the excitement of just this in and of itself, you know? Um, but like it got to a point where it's like, again, like you have the Proud Boys who are saying kill a commie for mommy, or like you had other groups like American Guard. American Guard was for dudes that couldn't make it into the Proud Boys. You know, it was like the Proud Boys B team is what it was, and dudes that were like washed out, literally like Proud Boys washouts would join American Guard, and then they'd stand side by side with the Proud Boys and basically try and pretend like it's all one big happy family and shit like that. But I'm politicking here, you know. I'm politicking right now. Um, but like even that was like even that was excessive, you know. Like I don't think you needed groups that were going to be so outwardly vocal about the whole well fuck Antifa up thing. Having these groups in the first place should have been something that was affirming towards a political ideology, a way of life or something like that. That's what it should have been, instead of it being what it ended up being with like the Proud Boys, which was just, yeah, anti-Antifa. That's it, you know. uh, Being against something is not having a belief in something, and because of that you have to be very careful, and that is one of the big issues that led to the downfall of the movement from that 2016 era, you know. um, but like you don't have to do anything extra, you just have to live your life, and when somebody comes along and they're like, hey, don't you support Palestine, you can just be like, I mean, I hope people don't get killed and shit like that, but you know, I wouldn't say I support anybody. I think that's their thing, and I'm worried about my thing. I'm worried about my people and my stuff. And it's one of those things where that answer is so reasonable, it's so innocuous, and yet it is so pointed. It is so pointed that somebody who is like some pro-Palestine guy, and I'm not saying this because I'm pro-Israel, obviously, but some pro-Palestine guy is going to come out the cut, and he's gonna hear that, and he's gonna be mad about it, and he's gonna want to like fight you on it, and I don't just mean physical fight, although I don't know. What he's gonna want is to try and like take issue with you, and it's a trap, because either A, he has to not take issue with you because he knows it will look bad on him to do so, which means you win, or B, he takes issue with you and you just keep that nice, calm, that even keeled, that like, hey, I don't care either way. I'm going to be me and I'm going to do my thing. And if you try and come at me, you know, it's going to be bad for you. You know, you can have that sort of, ideal, you know. Um you ever see the Steven Crowder video where you ever see the Steven Crowder video where all the Antifa schizos are guarding the drag queen story hour with rifles, and there's like kids putting money in the thongs of these trans strippers? Yes. Yes indeed, I have. Cato sent us, says Chuck Clean 21. Well, thank you very much, Cato. Thank you very much, Cato. I hope you're doing well. You know? What's going on? The great Mad God lay epic raid time. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Man. Um Why does it say you're a relevant person to yourself? Oh yeah, you know, because I'm the most relevant to myself. I'm the most relevant to myself. But yeah, like that was the point of this, is like we got to stop being this. We got to stop being this guy. We don't want to be this guy, but we got to stop being this guy. You know, you gotta be a little bit more streetwise. I'm not telling you to be a wigger either. That's not what I'm saying. Like wiggerism is not good either, and that was kind of like the third position, I guess you could say, between being like this guy or being this guy. The third position is like wigger, where like that's not the answer either, you know. Um, but it's a jeez, excuse me. It's a um what was I gonna say? Sorry, I'm like I'm losing my train of thought right now. I'm losing my train of thought. there's a third position in between this guy and this guy. You know, it's not Wiggers. It's something else, and it's kind of a complicated topic to try and talk about. It's not even that it's complicated; it's that it's kind of a deep topic, and we're talking about like, how to push um the third position, also being known as a fucking Wigger. Yes, yes, but like there's more to it. There's more to what I'm saying than just what's in here. This is just kind of a good place to start with it, you know? Um, and as I talk more, thought I heard a door open. As I talk more about, as I talk more about my time in dissident politics, I'll start talking more about what I feel the right move to make would be. And of course, nobody's going to make that move. And it's because I'm not some Nick Fuentes guy. I'm not some Steven Crowder guy. I'm not a Candace Owens. I'm not even like a left wing grifter type guy. I actually give a fuck about the problem. You know, I actually give a fuck about I actually give a fuck about trying to really fix everything. And because of that I'm sitting here, not I'm not just worried about like a book deal. I'm not just worried about whether or not my channel is making me money or stuff like that. What's going on, Natalia? Are we right wing grifting? Yes, we are. Indeed, we are. Um, Man, like Bill Clinton. Exactly. Nah, but like honestly, I want to this this right here. Not Wiggerish. Something completely and totally different. But um like I think that aesthetic, I think the football hooligan aesthetic, I think that oh oh boy. Oh boy. Oh yes. Oh yes. Anyway, but jokes aside, like that aesthetic, that lifestyle, that I mean, look at this, right? Look at this, right? See how many? I don't know what affiliation these guys are. I don't know what team they're from. I don't know if they're like left wing, right wing, if they're generally apolitical or anything like that. But imagine this many people mobbed up like that. Like Patriot Front wishes it could do that. Patriot Front wishes, but again, like we're getting into a topic that if I was going to talk about it, I would want to start from the beginning, if you will. I would want to start from the beginning, and explain everything, because I do understand that being like, we need to be like this, like given some of the things that have happened with people who wear masks and shit like that over the years, I can understand why someone might be like, whoa, that looks a little weird, dude. But like, all they're doing is watching a soccer game with flares. That's it. And like, yeah, okay, fine. Maybe they're gonna get into a fist fight after the fact. Maybe, I guess, fine, whatever. But like, outside of that, it's not like they're like you wouldn't want to fuck with these guys. You wouldn't want to mess with these guys. If you were walking down the street and you were looking for a victim, you'd see these guys and you'd be like, maybe not one of these dudes. Maybe not one of these dudes. Maybe I should just maybe I should just let them be. Maybe I should let them be. You know, um, and that's part of the issue, is that like so many people today, they are going out of their way to look like this. They're going out of their way to be this guy, and it's like, you can't do that, man. You can't do that. There's a reason why I don't get into fights, and it's not because people can just sense that I'm like a martial artist. It's because I look scary, even fat as fuck. I walk with with a certain swagger. I have an angry look on my face that I don't even mean to have, by the way. That's just the face God gifted me. You know, I can grow a full beard. Like, I look masculine. I look manly. Going bald, you know, like, people naturally do not want to fuck with somebody who looks like me because I look like I'm more trouble than I'm worth. Again, as opposed to this guy right here, he looks like you could bounce his head like a basketball, and he'd be begging you like, please stop, sir, that's assault. Hey, that's assault, sir, that's assault. Sir, I'm gonna call somebody, call the police. That's assault. That's what this guy looks like. Versus these guys who they look like they would assault somebody, you know? Like you have to look dangerous. There's a certain amount of dangers that you have to look. You have to be okay with looking like, and you have to embody that danger to a certain degree. And again, I'm not telling anyone to be violent. I'm not telling anyone to do bad stuff or anything like that. What I'm saying is don't be a victim is probably the big thing that I'm talking about. Don't be a victim. It's that simple. You know, don't look like a victim, don't dress like a victim. This is something that white women are extremely guilty of doing. White women either like to dress their young boys up like the men that left them. You know, you ever seen those pictures of swagged out kids, right? Um oh dude. Um you know, I'm sure. Right? Like they love dressing their kids up like this, or what they like doing is they like dressing their kids up in like a Spider-Man t-shirt with short shorts and sandals. You know, white women especially, they love their sandals. They love dressing their kids up in sandals, you know? And like it's almost like it's like nominative predeterminism or something like that. I believe it's what it's called, where like you know, people will say if you have a name, if your last name is Dick Sucker, you're more likely to become like a hooker or something like that, because your entire life people are just like, hey Dick Sucker, hey Dick Sucker, hey Dick Sucker, hey Dick Sucker. You know, if that's your name is Dick Sucker, you're more likely to become a hooker because you just keep hearing that, right? I think Sam has actually talked about this from time to time. It's almost like nominative predeterminism, but with like clothing, where it's like these kids are dressed up like dweebs from a young age, and because of that, they just become dweebs because they're like, well, I look like a dweeb. Subconsciously, they're like, I look fucking ridiculous. This is stupid. I look stupid. I look really, really unthreatening. I look like someone that some kid who his mommy dresses him like this, you know, some kid whose mommy dresses him like this is gonna come and try and bully me, you know, like that's that type of shit. The swag aesthetic, yes, exactly. Name determinism is real. I don't know, maybe not, could be. At this point in time, I'm ready to believe anything, you know. um Scott Assaltovan. Hell yeah, baby, we're changing our names. Our last name is gonna be Assaltovan now. Our last name is gonna be Assaltovan. Yeah. Sir, please stop hitting my rib cage with a metal bar. Exactly. Like you and this is how, like, I've been talking about this a lot lately because it matters, and it matters a lot, and it's something you have to break out of. And it took me years to break out of it too, you know? It took me years to get to the point where I could feel comfortable throwing a punch at somebody who had not already thrown a punch at me, right? It took me years to get comfortable with the idea that the fight has already started by the time he gets within arm's length of me in the first place, so I should just start throwing because I can't wait for this guy to be like, oh, what Ugh. I can't wait for that, you know. It took me years to get comfortable with that myself because I was raised the wrong way too, you know. But like you damn, I know what I'm trying to say, but I forgot the words that I was going to utilize, you know. I forgot the words that I was going to utilize for it. Um, well, oh fuck, what was I gonna say? I mean, it's important to me because, there's plenty of aspects to all of these situations where you have like some dude getting the shit kicked out of him by five lawyers or engineers or whatever it is, Um, there's a bunch of different aspects of that that are going to have severe consequences, not just to you, but to people around you, you know? And a lot of people, oh, yes, yes. A lot of people think that when I talk about this stuff, I'm just trying to sound tough, but I'm not, What I'm doing is I'm telling you the mindset you have to have in order to be able to survive out in the world today. You have to be able, if somebody is that close to you and they're being aggressive and they're like, I'll fuck you up or whatever, you have to be able to be the one that's fucking them up. Because if it's not them, it's going to be you. And that's not something you can do with love in your heart. You can't do it with love in your heart. You got to have hate in your heart to be able to do that. And before anybody tries to be like, but I thought you were a Christian, or when I say hate in your heart, I don't mean legitimate hate. What I mean is you have to have that intensity and that fire and that willingness to do something like that to somebody, and not just a willingness to do it, but a belief in your absolute need to do so. You have to feel like you need to. You have to be comfortable with the idea, because it's important. You know, a lot of people, they have this weird idea that like being good at sports is like, and it's all cope. It's all cope. Like being good at sports is not that important. Being willing to throw hands at a moment's notice, that's what undesirable people do, if you know what I mean by that. There's a lot of people who think that's the kind of behavior that only certain groups of people tend to adhere to and stuff like that. And it's like, all right, well, you can keep getting your ass beat. I won't. I won't. You know. It's just ridiculous. Gunshot Sullivan, yes. Gunshot Assaultivan. Oh man. Um, Name your daughter Tabitha and she will be obese. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a skinny Tabitha before. I think you might be right. I think you might be right. I hate the Antichrist. Yes. Being prepared. Exactly. That's all it is. It's just being prepared. Hating wickedness is allowable. Exactly. And even then, it's like I said, it doesn't have to be hate. It's just that intense. It's that intensity. It's that intensity. It's that ability. And as you become more acquainted with martial arts, for instance, it's hard to get acquainted with fighting via just fighting. You have to do martial arts for years, and like having fights when you're doing martial arts is one thing, but like the idea of like I'm gonna go out every weekend for like a year and get into a fight every single weekend, it's like you're not gonna do that. That's not gonna happen. Something bad is gonna happen before then. You're gonna get shot, you're gonna get stabbed, you're gonna get arrested. Your spree is gonna come to an end. But um like as time goes on, you get to a point where you can just throw as hard as you can and you don't need to be mad about it. you know there's a lot of people out there who you have to get them to a point where like they're ready to murder someone before they'll throw a punch. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't have to be that. Doesn't have to be that way. Definitely not. Maybe it's just from growing up hanging in a dangerous city, but I can't understand the lack of awareness about those situations. Yes, yes. The fact is, people like that are looking for victims, and if you make yourself into a victim, either because you're like you grew up as a sandals kid, or if you simply just don't pay attention to anything, if you're not looking around, if you make yourself an easy target by being like aloof and things like that, you're gonna get fucked up. You're gonna get fucked up. Um, Same dick. I think a lot of people who grow up in the suburbs are like for real stunted and not living in reality. Well, you see, that's the thing though, is because the suburbs used to be a nice place. Now the suburbs are not good. You know, I grew up in a suburb that literally over the course of my lifetime got to a point where now there's like heroin dudes, like, heroin dealers and homeless dudes, and there's dudes getting shot and stabbed and robbed and burgled, and cars getting broken into and all this other stuff, Um, excuse me, like that's what happened in my hometown. And it took people a minute to start getting used to it again. But what you're starting to see more and more as time goes on is people are getting used to it now. And that's why the Zoomers are more right wing than they were before. What I want to see from those right wing Zoomers is also that cultured thug mentality where it's like, look, if you're going to be forced to be around crime, yes, avoid it at any and all costs, but also don't shy away from corrective action. Don't shy away from, oh, this guy is trying to like break into my car and I caught him. I should start fucking bouncing his head off the hood of the car, you know, and fucking hold him down and wait for the cops to get here. I should be able to do shit like that. Oh, this guy is trying to get in my face because I won't let him cut in line. Maybe I should start swinging on him. And again, like every situation is different, and I'm not a legal expert, by the way. And I'll always tell you to stay within the confines of the law and stuff like that. All I'm saying is that you have a right to self-defense. You have a right to self-defense in every state, even if your state, their qualification of self-defense is fucked up. Self-defense is not illegal. Me telling you that you have a right to self-defense is not illegal. It's not. I'm not out of bounds for being the one to tell you that. Now, where that is in your state, where that is, depending on the situation you're in, that's not my thing. So I'm going to tell you to stay within the law and don't take this as legal advice because it's not. But like, there is also a certain amount of accepting consequences that you're going to have to be willing. It's like it's like again, like if somebody was trying to like fuck with me in the middle of a Walmart like fucking parking lot or something like that. Like if I can get away, I'm gonna get away. But if for some reason I feel like I can't, even though I know it's probably not gonna be legal in the state of Massachusetts, I'm gonna do something and then I'll deal with whatever consequences there are after I make sure that I'm safe. Because I'd rather have to be, they say it's better to be tried by six, tried by 12 than carried by six. And it's like, yeah, like we'll deal with the trial after I make sure that I'm not gonna die. Let's just right now, let's just focus on not dying, on not being murdered by this fucking guy. Let's keep the focus on that right now. And then as time goes on, we'll more and more focus can be put on the trial and trying to prove my innocence and things like that. Let's fucking go, right wing Zoomers. Yeah. Oh yes. My old man always said too much rage is gay, gay rage is, oh, excuse me, gay rage, you called it. Oh man, that's funny. Be nice. Um, Scott, I gotta go to bed. It's 5 a.m. in Scotland. Keep fighting the good fight, you magnificent man. Hey, thank you very much for being here, Frozen Joe. I appreciate you. I actually have 10 minutes to go. I'm gonna play a game of AOE. That'll take us just over the 2 hour mark. But I do have work tomorrow, like I said, so I gotta do my thing. Um, I can do a lot for my family from a prison cell than from the ground if it comes down to it. Exactly. Oh no, I have to go to jail for a couple of years. I'm in county for however long, or I'm in prison for however long. Yeah, like that sucks, and I'd rather not be there. But also, you know what? I'd much rather be in prison for a couple of years of my life than dead. So it's like there's like once you stop being afraid of that potential outcome, um it's like, all right, well, and like the idea, like it's hard to kill somebody, man. It's like, I'm not speaking from experience or anything like that, but you have to hit somebody just right, and everything that comes after you hitting them has to be just right for them to like smack their head on the pavement and die. And if you're like me, you have so many other options than just like sucker punch a dude and then he smacks his head on the pavement, that it like for a long time I was like, dude, I'm a trained fighter. What if I hit somebody and they die? And I realized, like, dude, I'm a trained fighter. I don't have to hit somebody in a way that they're gonna die. Like, there's plenty of situations where I can easily get away with like either some other kind of punch, If I sucker punch a dude in the liver who has never been hit in the liver before, even if he has been hit in the liver, that dude's going down. You know, if I kick a dude in the nuts and he did not expect it, even if he expected it, he's going down. You know, or if I take a dude down, if I have that option, it's going to be a lot easier for me to control the situation, you know? And that's why you need to have at least a base level of like martial knowledge, and not just that, but the ability to utilize it, to recall it and do it under pressure, you know? That's part of the reason why it's so important, you know? There we go. Like we're taught to be scared of the world today, and you can't be scared of the world, you know. And like all of those things are symptoms of it. Is like, oh man, I can't fight this guy. What if I get in trouble? But I can't fight this guy. What if I get hurt? You know, it's like it's shit like that, you know. I'm such an alcoholic. If you hit me in the liver, every bone in your hand would shatter. That's called training. Yes. The one martial art I was never quite able to master myself. Um, Fucking Acropolis. All these maps except for Arena are really dog shit. Like I can't stand a lot of these maps, man. Oh, excuse me. Somebody somebody they some trans whatever just liked one of my things, and I got curious and I clicked on their shit, and it's their bio says she her 21 years old just trying to survive, trans, account dedicated to tracking my fem progress, free Palestine, 18 plus, no kitties allowed. uh, the idea that you're gonna be like, oh, 18 plus, there's no kids allowed. First off, don't call them kiddies, all right? That's another thing that I can't stand is when you see redditors where they're like, oh, the kiddos, like they say it the way they say doggo. They're like, oh, the kiddos. It's like, that's some groomer ass shit right there. That's exactly what I would expect a groomer to refer to as kids. That sounds like slang specific to groomers, like whatever hive you utilize to talk with your other groomer buddies, other than Reddit, of course. You know, you're gonna be like, oh, so did you meet any kiddos today? Like that's the type of shit I expect from them. You know, calling them kiddies is like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I'm glad you're not talking to any kids. Thanks for that. But you know what? Fucking don't have a Twitter. Like get off Twitter. Don't have a publicly facing account that kids can see and be like 18 plus. It's like you're irresponsible for that. Is is she hot though, Scott? I don't know. I didn't take a look. Yeah, so this person is definitely going to early rush. If they early rush and it goes to, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't feel like having to fight hard against an early rush. I'll see what I can do to stop it from coming, but I mean, the fact is, I'm probably going to get early rushed, and they're probably going to be able to do some damage to me. So if that happens, I'm gonna just call it, and I'm gonna try one more game. I'm gonna see if we can get like arena or something like that. You know. Uh, Esto voando. Oh, duh, what am I doing? I'm like checking fucking checking Instagram at the same time. Oh, at the very least I got that. Oh yeah, something else I meant to say is that I want to start making sure I put more effort into these streams again. I'm at a point now where I feel like I can dedicate the time and the energy to it again. I just want to know what kind of streams you guys would be interested in seeing in the first place, you know? So if you have any ideas or anything like that, I don't know how many of you are watching right now. I should have did this at the beginning of the stream, but I don't know how many of you are watching right now. But if you have any ideas for streams that you would want to see, let me know because I want to start trying to make these things good again, and hopefully get some more people back in. People that'll be interested. I've talked to a couple of the people from season 4. I don't know if they're down or not. I haven't really broached the topic in like a crazy serious way or anything like that. But I might be willing to, well, I would be willing, it's not that I would be willing to collab with them if they're willing to do that with me. I think that would be fun. Maybe like another another a Jeopardy stream or something like that, or something fun, something lighthearted, something where me and other people can just like get together and shoot the shit for a minute. I would I think that would be fun. There we go. 3 fish tank contestants play friend slop games. I wouldn't even know what a good example of a friend slop game would be, or would that be like would that be like Lethal Company or like Fall Guys or something like that? I played Lethal Company for a little while. I played it with Taylor and some of his buddies because they were like, "Fuck it, let's switch from AOE for a week," and I had a good time with it. It was fun. It was just sorry, I'm trying to plan the next move here. Uh, Plan the next move. Yeah, I mean it was fun. It was fun. I think that'd be something fun to do with like Jimmy and like fucking Arie and Greg. Maybe have some of the girls come along too if we could get like um if we could get like Ellie or something like that. I've talked to Ellie. She's we've talked like briefly here and there, nothing like crazy. Oh, damn it. There we go. There we go. What are they going to collab on? What do you mean? Oh, Skip Swags asked me to tell you to reach out to collab. I mean, I got to be honest with you, Hi Ecuador. You're always trying to fuck with me. So because of that, I don't want to be like, hey Skippy, someone told me you wanted to collab, and he's like, nah, I didn't. Feel like there might be, feel like there might be a little fuckery afoot. There we go. There. Esto voando. I'm really not. I mean, what would I like? I'm not saying I wouldn't collab with Skippy. I would. But that is one thing that I'm like, okay, so what would we collab on? I should hit him up and be like, hey, so what do you want to do if I am gonna do something like that? But I am just sitting here like, what? What a fucking bitch. What a bitch ass. Oh yeah, shit. Silly me. Silly me. Here we go. You're gonna tell me. There we go. I'm like only half trying on this game right now. He wanted to play this game with you. He said it would be funny. Oh man, is Skippy the one who hates fish tank now? Oh, we're good. We're good. Come on, there we go. Yeah, so chances are this dude either A, he's gonna come with more horses, or B, he's gonna come with archers. You know, it wouldn't surprise me either way. He's I watched Skippy play Skyrim a little. It was like watching a baby play who can't read or whatever. He's not gonna be able to play AoE. Oh man. That'd probably make it funny. I could see that being a good time. Yeah, we don't have to. Yeah, he's already in castle. We don't have to play. It's not. Oh, geez, it's not like we have to play. Whatever it's called anyway. You know. Yeah, you see, he's setting up that castle. He's coming. If he isn't setting up the castle yet, he's got some shit that's gonna fuck me up. He's gonna, you know. I wouldn't exactly call this an early rush, although that is pretty fucking annoying that he did that with his scout cav. But whatever, what you gonna do, you know? Um, if he says no, who cares? Fucking, I'll be honest with you. If there's one thing that I'm sick of in the fish tank world, it's the fake. Um, I'm sick of trying to be cool with people who will then turn around and I'll find out they're talking shit about me in a public place that I didn't see excuse me, that they didn't think I would see, you know? And the last thing I want to do is give anybody that I don't feel I can 100% trust, which I'm not saying like Skippy is an untrustworthy guy. It's just that I don't know him like that. You see, here we go. This guy's pretty quick. Anyway, I just I'm just sick of like dealing with people who are like weirdos about shit. You know, is really my big thing. Um and come on, baby. Because of that, if I don't know someone like that, I am probably not going to want to do too much to put myself in a position where they could fuck with me in that way by trying to be like, yeah, Scott wanted to try and be my friend, you know? Um, I find that to be really annoying, you know? Yeah, I mean, actually, funny enough. No. Jugando. I'm trying to explain my my thought process here, and I'm not doing a very good job, obviously, because you know I'm doing my thing with whatever it's called. This guy has so many of these dudes around here, and yet I'm ahead of him right now. That is not a good sign on his part. What I will do is I will try my best to. What do I need? What do I need? What do I need? Oh, damn it! I done fucked it up. I'm just gonna ignore these guys and let them do what they're doing. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if I can, independent of these guys doing their thing, I'm gonna, oh damn it, because this is obviously a shit show, you know. You know what? Fuck it. But then again, should I say fuck it? Nah, it doesn't even matter, you know. Um, Skippy is pretty chill, but I don't believe he said anything about wanting to stream with anyone else. He's also pretty solo dolo. Yeah, that makes sense, you know. What's that? Yeah. Whatever. Fuck it. Yeah, I don't even think this guy has a. I don't even think this guy has a fucking. Dude, what are you doing, you idiot? Get your ass over there, fucking dumbass. And this guy too. What are you doing? I don't think I'm gonna win this one, but funny enough, like it does kind of seem interesting the way that you know. All right, where's the swan? He's only now just. Oh man. Yeah, nah, he's gonna win. He was always gonna win on that front, you know. I just wanted to see what I could do here. Uh, yeah, he was just like he went all in on the rush because he didn't have to worry about anything else, you know. That's I get it. That's just what these guys are doing now. The whatever they're called, I forget what those are. Um, But yeah, I want to be around worthwhile people. I want to do worthwhile things. I want to do things with people that want to be around me. I don't want to be somebody because you know, like it's happened plenty of times, you know. There's people who like literally like whether they make it in or not. I've literally seen people who like they try and schmooze me because they're on the outside and they don't realize that in the MDE world, I'm just some hang around. They think that I have like some kind of in for them or something like that. And they start schmoozing me, trying to be cool with me. And then when they get in, they're like, oh, I don't need Scott anymore. So they're like, you know, they're like not talking to me anymore. Or like they're hoarding information and acting like I'm on the outside compared to them or something like that. I literally had somebody like, I hit them up when Blood Games gets announced by Jet, and I'm like, hey, so like, what's going on with Blood Games right now? And he's like, how'd you know about that? It's like, what do you mean, how do I know about that? Jet made a fucking announcement on his Instagram. What do you mean, how do I know that? The fuck is that? You know? It's like shit like that. You know, or like again, like fucking Four Lakes.